Hare Krishna. Now, Shikhar will give a explanation of the first offense in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Can we have a microphone for him? Preferably one that is green. What's with the first offense?
So the first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. I should elaborate more on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are so many times where I've either externally or internally thought something negative about a devotee, and it can really affect one's sadhana. And I've done this so many times to the point where I can't even count, and it's only led to negative things. If I think about all the positive things a devotee has done instead of their negatives, then I always end up feeling happier. I feel more connected to the holy name.
And now Aditi will restate the first offense, but she'll say it as a positive principle. We say we should avoid this offense, but if you were to turn it into a positive means like you should do something, what would you say the first offense could be turned into?
You should always glorify the devotees who are preaching the holy name instead of thinking negative things about them.
Would you like to say anything more about it?
Think positive instead of negatively.
Nice. Now, Krishnam will tell us anything he knows about the seventh offense. Call a friend. Here, give him the mic. This, by the way, is Krishnam. Let's welcome him into the Sangha. Hello.
The seventh offense is to the seventh offense to the holy name is to commit sins on the strength of the holy name.
Any thoughts on it? What it means, or what it looks like, or how it might affect you?
If you do some sins,
Pardon me?
and then you think, oh, I will do this bad thing, and then I will chant to rectify the mistake that I did.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It's not going to work. It's karma.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything else to add to that? Why it would be offensive? Chaitanya. Well done, Krishnanam.
As Krishnanam said, it's not going to work, but the reason it's not going to work is because that's not the point of the holy name. It's not to just sort of use it as a backup or like a fallback of whenever you think you messed up and then you just want to chant. Of course, Krishna is so merciful that he will, when you're acting, when you're actually sincere and intentional in chanting the holy name, he will forgive you for sins that you've committed. But that's not the point. Every time you commit a sin, you can't just nullify it by chanting the holy name and then going back to sinful activities and back and forth. So that's not how it's meant to be chanted or used as.
Madhuri Radha, would you expand on it from the point of view of a personal relationship? If somebody, here, pass her the mic. If somebody you knew and you had a covenant, they were supposed to act in a certain way and then they didn't, and then, something like that, maybe personalize it, this idea of the seventh offense, how it might affect a relationship.
A relationship with like other devotees?
Yeah, for any other person you're related to, and then how would the seventh offense relate to an incident an incident that, or a way of behaving that might affect your relationship with the person?
Well, if you maybe mistreat a devotee or don't treat them with respect, and then think, oh, well, when I chant, it'll make up for that, then you're ruining both your chanting and your relationship with that devotee.
Yeah, and I was thinking about, like, on a personal level, because chanting is personal, that if you have a relationship with somebody and they do something to offend you, or they do something that's contrary to the relationship, and then they say, oh, I'm really sorry, but then they do it again, and they do it again, and they do it again, taking advantage of the fact that you're friends, or that you have a relationship, a family relationship, or something like that. How does it make you feel?
Not good.
How many chances do they get?
Not that many.
There's an example given by Haridas Thakur in the Harinam Chintamani, where he says that if a person is employed and they keep coming late to their employ, then at a certain point the employer might lock the door, and then the employee tries to get in, and the employer said, nope, not anymore. Go away. You can't work, nor can you get paid. And that makes the employee think about it, because now he or she doesn't take it for granted that I'm just going to be able to go there, I'll go late, I'll misbehave while I'm at work, and so forth. And so sometimes Krishna locks us out if we're misbehaving, and prevents us from having a taste for chanting. That's another aspect of it. So the seventh offense is something where we have a personal relationship. We should try to nurture it by being trustworthy. There's an idea that people say, well, I don't know if I have faith in God. Yeah, well, can he have faith in you? How much faith have you engendered in him, that you're good for it, that you're trustworthy? And the seventh offense, if you keep doing things that are offensive to the relationship, and then think, oh, it's no big thing because he'll just help me out, he's my benefactor, at a certain point the relationship may become tested or strained or something like that. So let's see what we have here today. We just have a few minutes to chant together. And how does everybody, is this okay sitting like this and chanting? If you feel like if you need to get up because it's your custom not to sit for long periods of time, feel free to stand up so you don't feel like a caged animal. And if you need to pace, you can go out in the hall and pace back and forth a little bit or something like that. Okay? But before you continue, I have these 4 quotes, so I want to read the second one. The first one was titled, do you remember? 2 words? Yeah. Next time we'll make you do a pantomime so we have to guess it. The second one is called Determination and Effort. These are out of 4 very pivotal quotes that Prabhupada gives about chanting japa. And I have a subtitle here, Take Responsibility for Advancing in Spiritual Life. Prabhupada speaks the following. Regarding your last question about the ecstatic symptoms of chanting Hare Krishna, you should know that the Hare Krishna mantra has an equal effect upon all devotees. Just like the sunshine has an equal effect on everyone, but when it is covered, the sunshine has a different effect. Similarly, the influence of the Hare Krishna mantra becomes manifest when one is no longer covered by the 10 offenses to chanting. The more we become free from the 10 offenses, the more the effect of chanting becomes manifested through us. Everyone can become a great devotee, being freed from the offenses 100%, simply by one's determination and effort. And one does, I think, helpful note about the word determination. It has the word terminus in it, determination. It means that you're able to finish the task. if you're reading a book, for instance, and you get halfway through and then you throw it, you're considered not very determined. You're in a race and you go halfway and then you stop. You're not very considered very determined. But we see those, even if they are diminished physically and they still finish the race. It's on the news that such and such finished. Even if they finished last, they did it. They finished. So terminus means you finish. So determination you can think of as making sure that you finish, that you do your prescribed number no matter what happening. And effort means there has to be something on our side. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would talk about this principle, he'd sometimes mention about how if somebody was stranded at the bottom of a well and a savior came and lowered a rope and said, grab on, and then the person at the bottom said, well, that's a little too much trouble. Can you come down and tie it around my hand so that you can pull me up? No, you have to do your part. So the effort part means that we are agents for change. We actually have to do something to extend ourselves. So effort means that we have to do our part, and determination means we have to finish on a regular basis. But by determination and effort, one can come to the perfection of chanting. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. We have only a few minutes left because we're leaving, right? We're going to go to the temple. So just see if there's any reflections from today's Make Japa Great Again.
I was reflecting on a point you've been mentioning many times, to be aware of when we're chanting, and I really tried doing that today, and it was very nice. I also wanted to learn more about that. Where, of course, it's an obvious idea that we should be aware when we chant, but is there any shastric significance for that concept, and is that just enough to just be aware?
Yeah, awareness is very powerful. Yes, there is Shastra. I mean, one is the so-called 11th offense, which is to be inattentive while chanting. And attention and awareness are very similar. Attention means to give special care to something. And it also, ten means to stretch towards something. So the concept is there in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, Jayato vishayam pumsam sangaste shupajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodopi jayate. And that is, Jayato, whatever you give your awareness to, will absorb you. And absorb you in the way that a sponge absorbs water. If you have water and a sponge and you put them near each other, the water goes into the sponge. So, Jayato, whatever you contemplate, whatever you meditate on, wherever you give your attention, that's what you're going to take in. So that's the principle that's pervasive. The word ti in Timahi, at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, is to absorb the consciousness, absorb the awareness in a specific area, and that area is Krishna. Everyone's putting their attention somewhere, and one of the main points of the Bhagavatam is there is an object where your attention will be rewarded properly. It's called ROA. There's ROI, which means return on investment, and then there's ROA, which means return on attention. Any other thoughts?
I really like the sunshine, clouds analogy in reference to offenses of the holy name, where Prabhupada says that the holy name will act on everybody, but if we are committing offenses, then we won't get that bliss. So it's important that we understand what the offenses are and then make sure that we don't commit them, which is a very difficult task. But as we chant, my understanding is as we chant, it becomes easier to avoid the 10 offenses. I'm not sure how much we should endeavor to separately avoid the 10 offenses, or we should just chant our best 16 rounds and then hope that they go away.
I'll read it to you tomorrow. I wrote the 10 principles of respect, and they're based on the 10 offenses, but they're proactive in what you can do they state what you can do to actually positively reinforce the principles that are behind this. For instance, as Aditi brought up, wasn't it you for the first offense? You put it in the positive, that you should show respect to devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when asked about how one could overcome offenses to devotees, one of the devotees from Kalina Gram said, with this mouth I've blasphemed devotees before. And then Mahaprabhu said, then that's like drinking poison. But if you want the antidote, then you can glorify the same devotee. And by that, you become freed from the offense. And so there's a positive side. So the answer is we should endeavor. It's a positive lifestyle. It's not just prevent defense, but it's actually the best plan to adjust one's attitude in all the circumstances of the 10 offenses, so that not only are you avoiding the offenses, but you're actually working towards the right attitude in all of them.